Hi, I'm Tasha with Pathways to Peace Counseling, and today we are going to talk about games that you can use to help kids process anger. I have lots of different ideas that I have found on the internet, and all of these games are $20 or less. So let's dive in and take a look at what I found. So this list has a good combination of games that you can play um, that are like store-bought games, and some of them are counselor-made games, some are online games, and some you can play in person. And so it just kind of hits all the different needs. And so the first one is a game called Taking Space, and it is a super cute concept of a game. It comes with tons of support material. You do have to get used to the language in it because it's very much themed of, taking space means going away and getting a grip on your emotions so that you can come back and re-engage later. So once you kind of get past the language of it, it is a phenomenal game. It's very short and easy. And it also has the information to help kids put together their whole coping skill plan. And it's very inexpensive. It's on Teachers Pay Teachers. The next one is Medieval Minds. And this game is all about how to control the fight, flight, or freeze response. So kids are going to understand how their bodies work, what the response is, how to turn it off, how to be aware of body signals and coping skills that they need to use. It really gets into all the nitty-gritty stuff, all about the fight or flight response. And it's a really cute, fun, and engaging game. This one is Escape from Anger Volcano, and it's about like you have one volcano that you have to use, and you want to keep it calm, and you have to feed it snowflakes every time you land on a volcano space. So everybody has to do that. So it doesn't matter if I land on the volcano or the kid lands on the volcano. If we don't have enough snowflakes to feed the volcano, then somebody loses. Whoever lands on it and doesn't have a snowflake loses. But kids are learning I statements. They're learning all sorts of different skills throughout this game. There's lots of different topics on the cards. And so lots of prompts. It's a really fun and engaging game as well. All right, so Hot Headed is a CBT counseling game that gets into a lot of different concepts behind anger, including how your thoughts are going to change how you feel and how that's going to change how you act. And so kids are going to pay attention to body signals, triggers, thought processes. And so sometimes you can get in and uproot some of these negative thoughts that are driving a lot of the anger issues. So kind of getting to the underlying components can really make a big difference. And a little side note, I have a little article about Angry Birds Meet CBT of how I use Angry Birds to teach cognitive behavioral therapy skills. So that one's a good one to follow if you're on this blog post. The next one is one that I found online several years ago. It's called No Temper Treasure Island. And the concept of it's really cool because it's not who gets to the end first that wins, it's who gathers the most treasure cards. And every time you land on one of those little cards that has a jewel on it, you are earning treasure after you answer the question. And each color represents a different topic. So it's like internal locus of control, it's about social skills, it's about coping skills, lots of different things. Um, Empathy, role playing, anger control, lots of good stuff in that one. The next one is a book and a game. So it's a short story about a little boy who keeps blowing his top and he's feeling isolated. He's always in trouble. He's totally frustrated. And a little girl gives him a little pep talk and kind of helps him figure out how to calm his body down. So it has a page on there about somatic symptoms of how to pay attention to what happens in the body whenever you start to get upset, the different coping skills that can be used, how to process information as it happens. And then the game kind of helps kids go through the whole process themselves, where they're able to figure out what it is that's triggering them and setting them off. And it has a little hidden feature. So there is a short story in the like 2 pages in the book about a dad who lost his cool on his kids. Somebody got hurt, dad went to jail. So if you're working with families where domestic violence has been an issue, it can be a segue to talk about that. And I have had kids be like, "Oh, my dad was arrested," and they tell me the whole story. So just reading the book can open up a whole can of worms with it, but it is something to be mindful about if it's something that you're not prepared yet to address. You might wait a little bit for that one until your relationship with the child is established enough to handle that. The next one is a little folder game called Stop, Drop, and Roll. So it's a anger management game, and it has a little fireman theme. Super cute. So Connect Four Launchers is not specifically an anger game, but it triggers anger in kids because you have to, it takes a lot of self-control to launch the little discs and get them where you want them to get Connect Four. And so kids get really hyped up and excited when they play this game, and they have to learn how to take a few breaths, get control of their body, and calm down to be able to focus. But as with all games, whatever the presenting problem is kind of presents itself with a lot of our games. And so that definitely happens with this one. So it will, for kids that struggle with anger, they will likely need to use some coping skills with that particular game. The next one is Uno. I play this one very similar to Feelings Candyland. And so we talk about with yellow, a time you were happy, red is a time you were angry, green is a time you were scared, and blue is a time you were sad. Kids are able to just unleash all of that built up emotion that they haven't talked about yet. And by the end of the game, you're trying to think like, what's another time I was angry or another time I was scared? But it also gets them used to saying I statements. So all the good things about Feelings Candyland apply to Uno as well. And I find with kids, maybe up to about 7 or 8 years old, typically prefer Candyland. Kids older than 8 years old usually will prefer Uno. Sorry. So whenever I'm playing sorry with a kid, I will tell them up front, my goal is to make you mad so that we can use some coping skills together. And when I play a sorry card on a kid, if they have anger issues, they will typically get mad at me. Another one that will provoke whatever kind of response the child is struggling with. The next one is an anger management card game. So it has a lot of the Uno type cards that go along with it, but it's a little bit different. So you're trying to make a line across a game board to win. So whether it's vertical, diagonal, or horizontal, and each space is linked with a question to answer, and they're all anger themed questions. So it focuses on triggers, coping skills, communication, all that stuff. The next one is anger management escape room. It's an activity that would be great for a group or classrooms. So every team is going to have a packet with the same information, requiring them all to solve the problems first to win. So it's just like an anger theme thing. So everybody's going to learn all sorts of skills to manage their anger. So this is my list of anger games, but I also have lists for a lot of other things. So I've got games you can play for free, anxiety games, impulse control games, lots of lists for all sorts of different things. So be sure to check out my other videos and lists as well at pathways to peace counseling.com.